Hey guys, this is gonna be a guide about how to play the character Beryl in her Afterglow setup in version 3.2. Now with this Afterglow team right here, if you go in here, especially when you try to read yourself through the character Beryl and you try to figure stuff out that way by reading you through these walls of text here, then there's a very high chance of you actually getting completely lost, and that is completely unnecessary. This team is very easy, simple and straightforward to play. There are still a few things that I want to point out so that you are aware of this. You have to understand that Beryl and Isolde, like this is a follow-up attack team, and the whole team is based around using their follow-up attacks. So Beryl has a follow-up attack called Destined Doom, and what you have to understand is that you have to stack something called Vision, because for every stack of Vision held, this follow-up attack gains Incantation Might +1, and this can stack up to 20 times. Now every time you would perform her follow-up attack, she would lose one stack of this Vision. So your aim is to keep this up as high as possible. You will never be able to keep up the 20 stacks non-stop, so don't worry about it too much, but know about it and use her buff incantation as much as possible, because this is what grants you these stacks of Vision. Additionally, these stacks of Vision, they reduce the amount of Afterglow that you have to consume, or that Beryl has to consume, in order to perform her follow-up attack in the first place. So all that you have to do with this team is you debuff with Isolde, you keep the Vision stacks up as much as possible, and then you apply Burn to the enemy with the respective debuffs from Isolde and Beryl. Everything else happens passively and you don't have to pay much attention to it. So let's jump into battle and let me show you what I'm actually talking about. Since you want to upkeep these stacks of Vision and therefore you have to use the buff incantation with Beryl, the unfinished tune here is a little bit of a better choice than the first melody would be. This is not too much of a big deal, but it makes things a little bit more convenient. So now, right when you start the battle, you will have to choose some crystals with Beryl. And the only thing that you have to know is that you choose 2 blue crystals and a purple. The 2 blue, they give you a 66% chance of casting your follow-up attack in additional time. That's what we're all about, so we're gonna choose those. And the purple crystal is here to have a 33% chance to actually increase the damage output from that set follow-up attack. Okay, now you know that in every single team that you play Flutter Page in, you want to use her ultimate right on turn 2. She starts off with 2 Moxie, so in this round you have to accumulate 3 Moxie with Flutter Page. How do you do this? It's very, very simple, just as a reminder, right? And never forget to use your unfinished tune, by the way. You move 1 incantation with Flutter Page, and then you use both of her incantations, and tada, she got 5 Moxie accumulated now, and therefore we have her ultimate set up on turn 2, which is exactly what we want. Now we have 2 different options. Either we can go for stacks of Vision, or we can already apply a few stacks of Burn, and on turn 1 you already want to start applying stacks of Burn to increase the Afterglow meter. And then on turn 2 is where the magic starts to happen, so to speak. Now you will have accumulated an additional incantation, a precast incantation with Beryl. You will accumulate 1 of those every single turn because of your crystals. That is what you always gonna use first after you use your unfinished tune. Okay, so now you wanna use this precast incantation. Then you wanna use the debuff with Isolde first. Wait, this is a mass attack? So this is her debuff right here, the mass debuff that inflicts critical defense down and stuff. You're gonna use that. Then you use your ultimate with Flutter Page. Then you establish yourself as many stacks of Vision as you possibly can, and now you start applying Burn. Preferably use Beryl for this as much as possible. If you don't have Beryl available, then you're gonna go ahead and do this with Isolde, of course. And now you will see that the magic starts to happen. Every time we accumulate 6 stacks of burn onto the enemies. We inflict 6 stacks of burn onto the enemy. Isolde will cast her follow-up attack. Now we have enough stacks of vision and enough Afterglow accumulated for Beryl to also go nuts, as you can see here, with her follow-up attacks. That will lead to Flutterpage going nuts because she, as you can see, because we have her ultimate already channeling. Okay, and you see, this is already pretty much about it. From here on out, you're gonna use your ultimates, you're gonna keep the stacks of vision up, and you're gonna apply burn. The only thing that you have to keep a little bit of a track of is that you reapply the debuff with Isolde every 2 turns. You can see reality def and mental def are still down, and the critical defense is also reduced by quite a significant margin here. We're talking about 30 and 35 percentages. So keep that in mind. Next turn, reapply the debuff with Isolde. But other than that, right, we can use our unfinished toon right here, always onto Beryl, to gain access to more stacks of vision. You can see these vision stacks, they run out very fast because we use our follow-up attack like 3-4 times every single turn, and that reduces these stacks of vision. So we want to reapply them as much as we possibly can, and that's why the unfinished toon comes in clutch. Let me use it one more time to accumulate more points. Alright, now see, what you want to do is precast incantation, accumulate stacks of vision, and apply as much burn as you possibly can. Isolde ultimate, the incantations from Beryl, the incantation from Isolde, right? And that's how you play this Afterglow team in version 3.2 together with Flutterpage and Fatutu. It is right now more of a follow-up attack team, if I'm gonna be honest, more than a burn. But you see, like, in order to trigger everything, to apply your entire team with a whole plethora of buffs, you have to fill the Afterglow meter. Therefore, you have to apply burn and halo as much as you possibly can. And yeah, also you need these stacks of burn for Isolde to use her follow-up attack as well. And then the team, as you can see, it completely plays itself, right? And we're gonna continue with our process. Remember what I just told you? We have to reapply the debuff with Isolde, right? That is very important. It reduces the mental def and the critical resistance of all of our enemies. It's a super good debuff that you always want to have active, and since it lasts 2 rounds, you have to reapply it every 2 rounds. So of course we're gonna go ahead and do that. After we used our precast incantation. And there we go. Now we don't have our buff incantation, so we can't stack up on vision stacks. What do we do instead? We apply as much burn as possible. We're gonna go as nuts as we possibly can. And that's gonna be about it, right? Everything else, you don't have to worry about it. It happens passively. You, as I said, by stacking up this Afterglow meter, which you will do, by the way, really fast, and by a huge amount, right? The maximum amount of Afterglow meter that you have filled is 240. We have over 300 here, so we're gonna be fine. That is because the ultimates from Beryl and Isolde give you so much Afterglow, like more than you could ever ask for, more than you ever need. Now, the team is not complete, right? But it doesn't matter. It is just like a turn or 2 slower, right? It's really not that big of a big deal. That team is extremely cracked already. Now you can see, right, we consume this Afterglow all the time, we gain it back and everything. Nothing can happen. It's just you play the first turn or first 2 turns correctly, and that's about it. And then, there are like 3 or 4 steps. You keep these vision stacks up. You use Isolde's debuff incantation. So keep every 2 turns to keep the debuffs alive. You apply burn, and you're gonna use your ultimates, right? If you have AP to spare, you of course gonna apply like AP plus with Flutterpage and all of that jazz, right? Here in this case, we would love to accumulate 2 Moxie with Flutterpage again, because we would want to have her channeling her ultimate next turn. So we're gonna move, AP plus, double ult, boom, there we go. Team plays itself. And that's about it, guys. Now we can go and check out the signature Psycubes for Isolde and Beryl and take a little bit of a look into her resonance as well. For her resonance, you want to focus on maxing out crit rate, crit damage. That is the most important thing. That's what we are all about. You can use the special piece Genuity here because it is overall the most consistent one. It gives you critical rate, attack, incantation might. All things we highly profit from. The aspirational piece is more of a, let me say, the gambling piece because it has a higher ceiling. It could be better, but it is a little bit of a gamble because you max out your critical damage. But in order to make use of critical damage, you would have to crit in the first place. That's why I would recommend Genuity more because of the critical hit rate increase. If you want to use this resonance right here, I will leave a link to it in the description down below. Her best in slot Psycube is of course her signature Psycube called the 1000-fold Fate. What it does is, when the carrier attacks, if the carrier is an intelligence character and at 120 points of Afterglow or above, you gain critical damage, here you go, and this can stack up to 6 times, and you gain a little bit of incantation might as well. How you obtain this Psycube is very simple. It is actually for free. You're gonna play the storyline here. The shop is called the Glittering Parlor. It's here on the right hand side of your screen, and there we have it, the 1000-fold Fate. The Psycube for Isolde is her new signature Psycube. You have to go to the war room, then here on the right hand side of your screen you say the tactical telegram, and here you will have to fulfill some tasks in order for you to unlock Isolde's new signature Psycube called the Shadows in the Subconscious. It makes her now synergize around the Afterglow mechanic, and that is gonna be the best in slot for her. And that's about it for the video, guys. That was my guide when it comes to how to play the character Beryl in her Afterglow setup in version 3.2. I hope this was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link to that in the description down below. Take care of yourselves, have a great day, and we love this game.